Hello and welcome to Ukraine in Flames, a special project by Ukraine Crisis Media-Center, NGO Euro-Atlantic Course and Analytical Center of Ukrainian Catholic University. My name is Victoria Zabiyan, I'm head of the UCMC Press Center. Please like, share this video and subscribe our channel to stay tuned. Part of the sixth package of EU sanctions, the oil embargo, represents the most impactful penalty the bloc has imposed on Russia since the start of Ukraine's war on February 24, and has the potential to deprive the Kremlin of one of the most reliable sources of income. It looks like Europe understands that it is necessary to look for another sources of energy in order not to only support Ukraine, but don't be a victim of Russian energy blackmail. And we start our episode of the topic of energy independence as the path to a more secure Europe with the comment of Olena Pavlenko, president of Dixie Group.
The European Union has announced a sixth package of sanctions against Russia. This time, the package included a ban on the purchase of Russian oil. EU countries will stop buying crude oil in 6 months and refined products by the end of 2022. Slovakia and Hungary will have more time to find other sources of oil. Russia has forgotten that not only is the European Union dependent on Russia's energy sources, but Russia itself is dependent on its main consumer, the European Union. Almost half of Russia's budget revenues depend on oil and gas sales, and the share of money from the European Union is significant in these sales. The seller country underestimated its main buyer. Now the buyer is abandoning the Russian product, and it is impossible to find another such large market in other parts of the world. Russia has always used energy resources as a weapon against Ukraine. Examples of the use of energy as a weapon were the gas wars of 2006, 2009, and 2014. As a result of these wars, Ukraine has completely abandoned direct purchases of Russian gas from Gazprom and is now buying gas from the European companies. The European Union has also learned lessons from the Ukrainian-Russian energy wars. Russia thought that gas blackmail in 2020 would force the EU to agree to Russia's political demands. But the result is opposite. As a result of the gas blackmail in 2020 and Russia's usage of energy money to finance wars, more and more countries around the world are now looking for the other sources alternative to Russia, because no one wants to work with a blackmailer and terrorist. Russia continues the war in Ukraine, and it means that the existing sanctions are not enough. They must be expanded. There are still opportunities to expand sanctions in the energy sector. For example, sanctions in the nuclear sector against Rosatom have not yet been sufficiently enforced. Some countries, such as Finland, have refused to cooperate with Rosatom, but many more countries can do so. It is also important to work with service companies and insurance companies so that Russia cannot transport oil or other energy products by sea. Also, it is important to freeze the assets of Russian energy companies abroad and direct funds from the sale of these assets to rebuild Ukrainian energy sector.
We asked expert Valery Izhik how European countries should prepare for refusing from Russian energy supplies and what are the next steps in this direction should be. She said that although the price of independence from Russian energy would be high for Europeans, it is nothing compared to the hundreds of thousands of lives lost due to Russian aggression in Ukraine. Let's listen.
Good afternoon to everyone. My name is Valery Izhik, and I'm a senior energy expert in Ukrainian climate organization Eco Action. Today, I want to talk about energy independence as a path to more secure Europe. To start with, we have to mention the European Green Deal. This is a plan to transform the European Union into a climate-neutral economy by 2050. and it implies ramping up of renewables, energy efficiency measures, phase out of coal, and gradual phase out of gas. At the same time, European Green Deal is not only about energy transition, it is also about energy security. True energy independence means mostly relying on your own energy resources. In this light, reducing energy demand, energy efficiency measures, and ramp up of renewables were considered as the main measures. Although gas status was always a bit unclear, it was considered as a transition fuel. And for Germany, it was also a way out to phase out nuclear power too. A full-fledged Russian invasion in Ukraine changed the situation. It became clear that there is no way to go through a gradual phase out of fossil fuels, especially originated from Russia. Russia started to weaponize its fossil fuels, and this is how Europeans arrived to its fifth package, ban of Russian coal. It was the first time that Europe has targeted the energy sector. It is heavily dependent on it, and EU imported 45 of its coal demand from Russia at a value of 4 billion euros per year. But the embargo will be active only at the beginning of August. After that, Russia even escalated its atrocities in Ukraine. And this is how we arrived to the sixth package, ban of Russian oil. The West buys 70% of Russia's oil and oil products exports. The EU embargo phased in by the year end allows more time to engage in intensive diplomacy to secure alternative supplies and sort out logistics. But the main issue still remains gas. As we all know, Russia already cut off Poland and Bulgaria, and it became the Rubicon in the EU dependency on Russia. Now they're wondering who's next. Either way, the implications are clear. Europe must radically accelerate efforts to end its dependency on Russian gas. Alternatives can be from Norway, the US, Qatar, and elsewhere can partly make up for lost Russian gas. Studies have suggested much of the remaining shortfall can be made up through energy efficiency measures, accelerated rollout of renewables, and postponing Germany's phase out of nuclear power. And strictly temporary, boosting coal and oil generation. Governments must draw up plans to caution the poor and vulnerable. They also need to begin now to prepare their public to shortages and price spikes and explain the necessity. Europeans who have shown great hospitality to Ukraine may be perceived to the need to turn down the thermostat to help Ukraine. And yes, the price will be high, but it's not comparable to the price that Ukrainians pay every day in the battlefield. So the next package must be gas phase out.
We also managed to get a comment from Leonid Lunyhovsky, Director General of Naftogazbud Informatika Ltd, a consulting company of the oil and gas industry of Ukraine. Let's take a look.
The revenues from the export of energy is vital for the Russian Federation. So in 2021, Russia received 50% of export revenues from hydrocarbon exports, including 11% of natural gas and 36% of oil. This year, the proportion will change due to the increase in gas prices and the gradual reduction of Russian oil purchases. The share of gas will increase. In 2021, the share of energy carrier in the Russian state budget has reached 40%. According to Center for Research on Energy and Clean Air, Russia receives about 420,000 euros per minute from Russia's exports of oil, natural gas, and coal. According to Bloomberg Economics, Russia's revenue for the entire 2022 year from energy sales could reach 321 billion euros. In just 2 months of war, March and April, Russia earned 63 billion euros from fossil fuel exports, including 44 billion euros from European countries. Therefore, resolving the issue of imposing an embargo on the purchase of Russian energy is fundamental and crucial to reduce significantly Russia's ability to wage a war of aggression with Ukraine. Do the Europeans make something in this field? Because it is obvious that if Ukraine loses, the Baltic states as well as Poland and other Eastern European countries will become the next. So, on Wednesday, May 4th, the President of the European Commission, Ms. Ursula von der Leyen, during the debate in the European Parliament, has announced a draft of the sixth package of sanctions against Russia. It is a project because the final decisions will be made by the governments of each EU member state. From the energy point of view, the main thing in this draft document is the gradual imposition of an embargo on Russian oil for the next 6-8 months, on coal until August inclusively, and on oil products until the end of this year. Exceptions are set for Hungary and Slovakia. In these countries, the embargo will come into force from the end of 2023. On May 4th, the project was sent to all EU member states. Ukraine is grateful for our partners for this step, but it's not enough. Unfortunately, this project has not yet reached all governments, and Czech Republic and Bulgaria have also started that they are applying for an exception, and Hungary is an absolute opponent on this project in whole. The situation with natural gas is much more complicated. Yes, we have heard that Germany, Europe's main recipient of Russian gas, is planning to cut its share of gas imports to 35% this year, now 50%. The European Union plans to reduce Russian gas imports by 2/3 this year, by 101.5 billion cubic meters. In my opinion, this is a very difficult issue, and it is possible to solve it only with the strong support of the population, consumers of energy resources. People should turn on thermostats in their homes and just voluntarily agree to a certain reduction in temperatures in their homes and some increase in energy prices. Is this justified? In my opinion, yes, because it should be emphasized once again. Now Ukraine protects all European countries, protects the lives of its citizens, and last but not least, the reduction of Russian gas supplies through gas pipelines should affect the Ukrainian gas transportation system only last, after Nord Stream 1, Turkish Stream 2, then Yamal Europe, and the Ukrainian GTS last.
You've been watching Ukraine in Flames, a special project by Ukraine Crisis Media Center, NGO Euro-Atlantic Course and Analytical Center of Ukrainian Catholic University. In description to this video, you can find the information about how personally you can help Ukraine against Russian aggression. Everything is gonna be Ukraine.